So, guys, let's start brewing our second episode of Grow D2C Brews, the Omni-channel playbook. Today, we have two very special guests with us, and I'm excited to introduce them. First up, we have Ritesh, founder of Manzoori, a groundbreaking sexual wellness startup aimed at democratizing pleasure in India. What's amazing is that they have acquired over 25,000 new users without spending a single penny on paid marketing. Ritesh is also the founder of Posilia, a growth and retention consultancy that helps brands skyrocket their revenue without increasing paid marketing spends. His expertise lies in the 0 to 1 phase and pioneering new categories in the D2C space. Joining him is Priyanka Jetwani, a retention marketing expert with over 7 years of experience. She began her journey with Myglamm in 2018, where she scaled the brand's CRM contribution from 15% to 35%. Is that amazing, guys? From there, she moved to Tata Cliq, where she built the entire retention ecosystem from scratch for their beauty app palette. Now she is handling growth for several brands within the Good Glam group, continuing to apply her expertise in driving retention and growth. Let us begin.
Hello.
Hi guys, how are you? How is it going?
Thanks for that introduction and thanks for the energy that you have brought to this session.
Anytime, sir, anytime. How is it going, guys? How are you, Priyanka?
Good. Usual.
Good. So, Ritesh and Priyanka, right? So, I would like to ask a quick question before we move into the omni-channel playbook, right? Ritesh, can you give us a insight on your journey? How did you started Manzoori and then you went to start on Posilia, right?
So I started working at Popexo after my previous venture was acquired by them in 2017. From there on, I got into e-commerce. I had never done e-commerce before that. First, a company had raised some money. We were a bunch of kids experimenting, playing around during the good old days of Facebook ads. So I started my career in performance marketing. Popexo got acquired by Myglamm, and over there I was leading performance. That's when I met Priyanka, and I realized that there is a world outside of performance marketing. Priyanka taught me a lot about CRM. I mean, when I used to see the CRM contribution and I was pretty impressed and pretty shocked because when we were at Popexo, we only used to do ads. We did not do anything else at all. And at that time, you could do it. You could easily take a brand from 0 to 1 CR a month in revenue without doing anything else but only ads. And then when I joined Myglamm, we realized that, okay, there are so many other things that can be done. And of course, CRM and email played a very big role. Started Manzoori because at Popexo, we had access to a lot of data. Largest creator of content for women in the country, and we could see that their sex stories and content around sexual wellness was doing very well. We tried to monetize it, but we couldn't. So, for example, running ads on a blog which is talking about your favorite sex positions is not something which brands wanted to pay for in 2018 and 2019. So we were not able to monetize a very big chunk of their users. So because of traveling that I have done, I knew about the existence of pleasure products and how big these categories are outside of India. So I went to the brand and pitched it to them in 2018 for the first time. Okay, guys, शुरू करते हैं. E-commerce already कर रहे हैं. If we launch our own sexual wellness brand, it will go crazy. But it's very difficult. At that time, there was nobody. This is 3 years before my news also. So it was a very big risk for a company that was already doing so well and they already had a bunch of investors. So I was like, ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं. I will do it on my own. Started Manzoori because I had seen the amount of pressure and stress that causes that ads cause. Basically, founders' mental health is directly correlated to performance marketing ROAS. और फाउंडर बहुत अच्छे मूड में होगा अगर रोएस अच्छा है और जिस दिन रोएस खराब है सारी बैंड बजेगी. I was like, I would not like to run my own business like this. So tried a bunch of things. Actually, business on board and my relationship started 3 years ago. No WhatsApp provider was willing to give us their API. Nobody in the country. We spoke to all. There was not a single WhatsApp player that we did not speak to. कि यार हमें WhatsApp marketing करनी है, please करने दो. Rejected, like outrightly rejected. कोशिश ही नहीं करते थे वो लोग और जो एक दो लोगों ने कोशिश करी, we got rejected again. So that's where our relationship began, and I have a lot of gratitude for the BOB team. They went out of their way to change certain policies or to convince certain people to give us the permission to start our retention and our whole omni-channel experience. So
Correct.
yeah, that's about it. Porcelia began क्योंकि मंजूरी में बहुत कुछ सीख लिया था, transferred all of those learnings into a growth and performance marketing company. और जब आप organic growth strategies को combine करते हो with paid marketing strategies, so it just blows up exponentially, and that's kind of what we do at Porcelia.
So, Ritesh, I would like to tell you about Business on Board. That Business on Board has that integrity to get things done, on time and perfectly. So, coming on to Priyanka. Priyanka, can you tell us about your journey? How did you look at growth, and how did you find this as your forte in working in growth and retention? Right.
So until 2017, I did not know about retention, growth, any of these words, right? These were like all business words for me. Then I joined Myglamm as a CRM executive, and that's where I started learning a lot about retention. How do you do omni-channel marketing? What all it takes, to build a brand, to get revenue, all that pressure sort of start coming in. Um, yeah, so that's where I actually started my journey, and then I basically moved to Tata Cliq Palette, where I actually started doing it from the scratch again, right? So when I joined
Right.
Myglam, there were some journeys in place, there was some tension that was already happening, but I got introduced to it, and then in Tata Cliq Palette, it's mostly like me building it from the scratch. The app wasn't even live when I actually joined Tata Cliq Palette,
Oh, yeah.
so that's the fun part of it. But yeah, that's been my journey so far, and now I'm again
Crazy
back.
journey. So, guys, moving on to the omni-channel playbook, right? The entire session is about that. So, the first question that I would like to ask to you guys is, can you talk us through the key differences you have observed, especially in terms of CPM and customer behavior between the two markets? Where should D2C brands in India diverge from global playbooks?
So what's happening in the US right now? So just to give you an example of CPMs, exact average industry CPMs. 5 years ago, US average CPM was about $10. Right now, it's at $27. 5 years ago
Right.
in India, the CPM was at about 80 to 100 rupees on an average, and now it's at about 250 rupees on an average. And this is average across all industries. This is official Facebook data. This is not for one particular industry. Maybe for your brand, the CPM would be higher, but this is what's happening on an average.
Correct.
But if you look at the last 2 years only, US has gone from $22 CPM to $27 CPM, but India has gone from 150 rupees CPM to 250 rupees CPM. And what this shows is that the growth at which India's CPM is rising is much faster than the US right now. US की वो maximum growth हो गई थी 3-4 साल पहले, और अभी हमारी चल रही है. We're in the middle of it. And the reason
Correct.
why we are talking about CPM right now is because most brands in their 0 to 1 journey, less than 1 CR a month in revenue, they are only spending on meta ads. There are so many brands जो करते ही नहीं है retention, which is actually a larger goal of this session that we are doing. We want
Correct.
to encourage brands to do more retention, do more omni-channel activities, and that is important क्योंकि अभी CPM अगर डबल हो जाएगा ना आपका एक साल में, तो आप अपना AOV तो डबल कर नहीं सकते हो एक साल में. तो you need to focus on where exactly will you get, what are the other channels you will need to open up to acquire more users.
So, what should a early stage startup should take a precaution while focusing on these things?
During early stages, typically
Right.
what brands do is they will focus on one channel,
Right.
and they will go all out on that one channel, and there will be a second channel which they will do a little bit of, and some brands don't even do that. But let's say on a larger theme, most brands are doing one channel for sure, but they don't have 3, 4, 5 channels. And what happens is when your primary channel, which in most cases is Meta, when that starts underperforming and you don't have a backup channel, then you're pretty screwed. So
Right.
there are so many brands which do this well. वो festive season में ads ही नहीं चलाएंगे. For 15 days, 20 days, 30 days, they will do zero ads, but they have been nurturing their email users and their WhatsApp users बहुत महीनों से before festive season comes, and they send out more communication on those channels. So that is very important. So omni-channel does not just mean WhatsApp and email. Omni-channel means Google, Reddit, Quora, WhatsApp, email, and anything else you can imagine. YouTube is emerging as a very
Platform.
important platform also.
Correct. So, if we are talking about the channels, right? So, I would like to understand the traditional channels like SMS and email are fading out, making way for WhatsApp and Instagram. In reality, are these older channels still effective? And how should brand balance the mix of channels for the best engagement?
Priyanka?
Yeah, I'll take this one. So I think it's a myth actually, that traditional channels are no longer relevant anymore. I think it's the way you look at it, right?
Right.
Now WhatsApp is booming because your readability rate on WhatsApp is pretty high versus your email or say your SMS, right? Now why it is important to have email, SMS also in places because it's actually gonna give you longer results, right? So, for example, email might not work for you today, but it's definitely going to work for you 6 months down the line of your business, right? Because it takes a lot of time
Correct.
to warm up, it takes a lot of time to set up that reputation, domain reputation, right? But once you actually achieve like sort of like high reputation email domain, right? Your spam rate definitely goes down. Your inbox rate definitely goes up. Your CVS will slightly go up because email traditionally as a channel is not really a conversion channel. It's more of an informational channel. To have like a proper mix of these channels is extremely important. And when and where to optimize these channels is something that every brand should do a lot of testing also and see what's working for you. Because if something is not working for other brands, let's say SMS, it's not necessary that it's not at all going to work for you. So, yeah.
Understood. So,
Uh,
what is your take, Ritesh, on this?
So one of the things that Priyanka mentioned was that email is more of an informational channel and not a commercial channel. And I'm sure she was only talking about the non-journeys and non-flows. But even that, for brands where there is a big information gap, it is a necessity to do email marketing and do it very well. So there are two kinds of brands. One is a very mature category where the information is already there. Users know what your product does and what problem it solves for without even knowing anything about it.
Hmm.
Phone cover is phone cover. Face cleanser is a face cleanser. But when
Yeah.
you are building in a category where there is a very big information gap, not leveraging email, so the information point is valid, but it is that information which will convert into money for you because
Yeah.
you need to provide that information and nurture your users accordingly. And Shivraj, to your point that it is dying or it is fading out, I
Correct.
think there are two channels which can never die. These are the OG marketing channels, which marketing specialists and experts who started in the 80s and 90s swear by, and they are effective even today. Three actually,
Right.
not two. The first is Google.
Right.
Google was probably the first ever channel that opened up. Since the 90s, Google Ads has existed
Yeah.
as a the other
Correct.
is email. Email probably even came before Google or like at a similar time. Ads in emails, conversions from emails. It's it's always been there. Startup ecosystem में phases होते हैं. There was a time when D2C became very hot and everybody discounted offline. कोविड आया था तो सबने एकदम बड़ा बड़ा डिक्लेयर कर दिया था कि ऑफलाइन इज डेड,
Hmm.
ऑफलाइन विल नेवर कम बैक अगेन. बट जो
Hmm.
Right.
ह्यूमन बिहेवियर है, जो कोर चीजें हैं, वो डेड नहीं हो सकती. एंड विद
Right.
email marketing, and I'm talking particularly about brands where your target audience is high income users. If high
Right.
income users is your TG, they definitely will open emails. If me as a founder does not open emails because maybe I'm too busy, it is incorrect for me to assume that my customer will also not open email because I am not my target audience. The fact is that email is the fastest growing channel in the US. And like I said, US की लर्निंग्स को टाइम मशीन कंसिडर करो. जो वहां हो रहा है यहाँ होगा ही होगा. ऐसा शायद ही कोई
100%.
फिनोमिनन है जो वहां हुआ है और यहाँ नहीं हुआ होगा. So
True.
learn from that and be ready because email contribution has gone up from 15% to about 28-30% in the US in the last 2 years. इंडिया
Correct.
में भी वो आएगा क्योंकि बाकी सारे प्लेटफॉर्म्स महंगे हो रहे हैं, तो ईमेल व्हाट्सएप विल डेफिनेटली ग्रो, नो डाउट अबाउट
Understood.
Yeah.
So, so guys, just want to understand, right? Like, how true is this when you think about the omni-channel strategies? Where do brands benefit from varying prices across all channels, and what risk should they watch out for over here?
So the biggest risk is like because these channels are very high in CBR, right? So basically, you get
Correct.
good conversion from these certain channels, right? So you tend to get a bit greedy that okay, I'm gonna send say 10 campaigns, 20 campaigns straight away, right? That's where
Right.
the problem actually starts. That you're actually bombarding your user with too much information,
Too much
right?
information.
So how do you have that hygiene check in place that this is the frequency that I'm going to play for the first quarter versus the second quarter, right? So
Correct.
that becomes extremely critical. Other than that, there are a lot of changes that are happening on Meta side, on email side as well, right,
Yeah.
on SMS side as well. So Meta used to do unlimited messages in one session. Now
Right.
it actually has come down to two messages in a session, right?
Right.
Now that actually is coming from too much usage of that information, of that channel. Like, you exploit it at times, and that's where
Correct.
your brand actually, instead of having the high recall, it's become very spammy also to a user. So having like a proper strategy that on how much to use it, when to use it, what to send, what not to send, that actually becomes extremely critical.
And
Got it.
Yeah.
to add the other side of this, Priyanka, is ki smaller brands, when they first start email marketing, let's say a brand is running, they are at a good 1,000 orders a month, 2,000 orders a month, and now they want
Hmm.
to start email marketing properly. They will
Yeah.
send out campaigns to all of their users. It will not get good results. It will not get good deliverability, and they will say ki email marketing chala nahi, it does not work for our brand. But
Correct.
100%.
it
Right.
is so, like, the right way to do it is to very slowly warm up your domain. You send
Yeah.
100 emails in a day, then you start sending 200 emails in a day, then धीरे धीरे करके वो उसको बढ़ाना होता है. It's a 3 to 6 month process to set up this channel, and it's not, I do understand कि knowledge gap बहुत ज़्यादा है email marketing में. Facebook ads वगैरह में बहुत knowledge है आज की date में,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
on
Got
email
it.
and WhatsApp very little compared to that. But it doesn't mean कि आप चीजें गलत तरीके से करो, because the information is there. गूगल पे ढंग
Yeah.
से पढ़ोगे और यूट्यूब पे रिसर्च करोगे, that information is definitely there. It's not कि there is zero information. So just do it with a little bit more thought before discounting it as a channel.
Yeah, I mean,
Correct.
just to add to that point, like email as a channel takes 3 to 6 months. That's the bare minimum it's gonna take, right? So don't expect that you're gonna probably do one campaign today or tomorrow and you'll send it to 5,000 users and you'll get a CVR of say 3-4%. That's
Yeah.
not how this channel, specifically this channel, works, right?
Right.
So the if you're starting email as a new channel altogether, have your journeys in place on your email, pre-purchase, post-purchase journey, right? That's how it's gonna warm up instead of
Yeah.
just warming it up with promotional campaigns. Build your campaigns where there is high intent for a user to actually open that email. So that becomes extremely important because that's how your domain reputation is going to build up. That's how your spam rate is going to go down. That's how you're going to get good click rates on your email by building these
Uh,
journeys. Yeah.
Priyanka, I have a question on this. What some marketers do is they have a pop-up, and on that
Yeah.
pop-up they are giving a discount code. And now,
Hmm.
instead of that discount code being visible on the pop-up, they ask the user to go to the email to collect that discount code. What
Hmm.
this does is it increases your email open rates, obviously,
Yeah.
Right.
but you're creating friction in that user journey.
Yeah.
Do you have any recommendation on what works better as per you? Should you send it on the email, or should you show it on the pop-up and not connect it to email, this welcome discount thing?
That journey breaks at times, right? When you're having like pop-ups, when you actually land them. I recommend just have the emails in place. That becomes a very smooth journey for a user to understand what the brand is about, right? Because right now you're actually, it's not just showing the logo of the brand, not just showing the product that you have looked upon, right? It's more about sending them a brand story also via emails. So, I mean, though you have your products in place, though you have your everything in place, the first 40 characters of your email, it's primarily just talking about your brand. तो अगर आप पॉपअप के थ्रू भेज रहे हो वो the user, how do I put it, the quality of the user changes, right? I from my email as a channel, I would really want to have say high intent user, the high quality of users where the AOV is like say 500 plus, depends on different brands, right? That's
Got
the
it.
intent for me, at least, as email as
So
channel.
for
I don't want
those
to dilute
users
it.
who don't want to
Right.
send them to the email, वो pop-up flow और email flow को आप combine नहीं करना चाहते. Welcome flow वो बाद में शुरू होगा. That is separate from the
That is
first.
separate.
Guys, just a quick question over here. So, अगर like early stage brand है, right? और उनके पास they have a budget of 5 lakhs. So, how should they distribute this 5 lakhs into various channels, right?
So whatever your primary channel is, let's give real examples लेते हैं. ज़्यादातर
Correct.
लोगों का primary channel is Facebook, secondary channel
Right.
is
Yeah.
Google,
Right.
and third channel तो होता ही नहीं है. But let's say that email and WhatsApp is a recommendation that I would for sure give. Now, out of this 5 lakh rupees, depending on Google or Facebook, whichever is your primary, secondary channel in giving you better results, वहाँ पे तो आपका 80% focus होना ही पड़ेगा. But जो बाकी 20% है, that has to be on WhatsApp plus email. How you split it between WhatsApp and email depends on your category. If you are selling expensive products, if you're a luxury category, high AOV products, a lot of education is required, then out of this 20%, I would recommend 70 to 80% focus on email and 20% focus on WhatsApp. But if it is the other way around, if you're selling a 300 rupee product, 500 rupee product, then I would be 60-70% focus WhatsApp पे डालो और email पे सिर्फ basic करो जो करना है.
Got it.
So just to add to your point, Ritesh, यहाँ पे ना, so basically what happens is if you have 5 lakh rupees of budget, right? All of this, you can do like, okay, I'm going to spend 20% of my budget on email and WhatsApp. Now, how do I split that as well? It becomes very important. For example, what is the split? What is the split that I'm looking at? Journey versus promotional campaigns for these channels, right? Because we tend to ignore it at times that, okay, my journeys are okay, they're up and running, I don't really have to do any much about it, right? But you actually need to figure out how do you split, how do you increase your journey spends also, because wahan pe you actually get like better CPRs,
For
not
sure.
just having
Correct.
like say 2 lakh rupees on WhatsApp and email on promotion, because that also dilutes the brand a lot.
And this is
Understood.
more valid for WhatsApp, less for email, because the beauty of email is that you don't have to pay per email or pay per send. And because of that, whatever cost you are paying is only your team cost or your freelance cost. Software cost जो है वो है obviously, but उसके अलावा if I say कि I recommend 50,000 rupee of your monthly out of 5 lakh rupees, 60 to 70,000 rupees you should allocate to email marketing. That is not money you are paying to the platform. It's money you are paying to the team. So
Hmm.
reality, it's not that high. If you already have a graphic designer and if you already have a copywriter in your team, तो वो cost शायद zero ही है आपके लिए. I remember there was a month where we did 24 lakh rupees and 6 lakhs of that came from email only.
So on this, I would like to have one question over here. So basically, can you explain me like D2C brand should focus more on a standalone campaigns rather than continuous user journeys? Or how would you approach the balance between running short-term campaigns and building long-term engagement through user journeys? What is your take, guys, on this?
Yeah, so when you actually start your campaigns, right,
Right.
your standalone short burst campaign seems very exciting because immediate response, immediate conversion, immediate table, all of it is very immediate, right? So it really
Right.
gives the hit that, oh, I've done like I've spent 5 lakh rupees and I've got like 10 lakh rupees, or right, all of that. But long term perspective, I'll say have your journeys in place. I cannot tell you how important these journeys are, right? Spend like a
Right.
month or two to put those skeletons together. What sort of journeys that you want, what sort of flow that you are trying to create, what all channels that you want to include in those journeys, right? Um so for me, journeys, I think for Ritesh also, I think journeys really are very important. What you're communicating in your abandoned cart journey, as a personal, you can add your personalization, you can add the discount that you want to have, all of that. And then on top of it, when I see I've got like a, say, promotional campaign, say 2 days later, right? I am very likely to convert on that because I know that, as an abandoned card, I've got just 10% off. Now I might get like 15% off, or say any, like maybe a cashback, whatever you're trying to promote at that given point, right?
So,
So,
while Priyanka comes back, मैं थोड़ा सा I'll add to what she was saying.
right.
So basically, the way I view email journeys is it's a one-time investment which will give you money for the rest of your life.
Correct.
So just like founders are encouraged to invest in branding, copywriting, initially आपका brand lookbook important होती है, packaging design important होता है. आप जब website बनाते हो यार, minimum you spend 1 lakh rupee on your website. Some brands spend significantly more. And email journeys has to be considered a part of that process. It should not be an afterthought, because an investment of whatever amount, be it a one-time amount of like 50K or 1 lakh rupee in setting up these email journeys, this is going to give you revenue for the rest of your life, your brand's journey.
Right.
हम लोग एक founders को एक हम बोलते हैं 10 पे 1. अगर आप अपने ढंग से journey setup करी है, तो for every 10 customers you acquire, you will get an 11th one free. That is our theory. And what this basically means is it reduces your CAC by about 20%. क्योंकि 100 customers की जगह मेरे को 110 customers मिल रहे हैं, तो 10% मेरा CAC कम हो गया. So that is a very important part of generally our philosophy.
So, guys, like if early stage brands want to start this, right, to use these channels and retain their customer back, so what all the strategies they should utilize while providing them a discount or a coupon code to, retain them back? So, what is your take on this?
So at the beginning, there needs to be before you even do email marketing, before you do any kind of ads or anything,
Correct.
step one for a brand needs to be to decide कि मैं अगले 2 साल में maximum discount कितना देने वाला हूँ. It's not a decision that you take today and change 3 months later. And whatever the discount amount is, so let's say for our brand, we decide that 40% discount we can give and still be profitable. And the reason for us is कि we don't do performance marketing, तो हमारा CAC उतना नहीं है, so we can get away with it. But for most brands, 40% नहीं दे सकते वो कभी भी. So maybe we keep it at 20%. So, but that 20% का amount has to be baked in to the MRP of the product. And now when you are doing discounting, you cannot be कि pop-up पे आया और 20% पहले ही दे दिया. 10% दो customer को, and you still have a 10% का buffer to give, which you will either give in the second, third email of cart abandonment, or thoda sa aage jaake when 20 days, 30 days they haven't purchased after signing up, you keep that buffer with you. The only exception to discounting strategy, I would say, is churned users. एक साल से अगर किसी यूजर ने आपसे नहीं खरीदा है तो दे दो यार उसको 40% डिस्काउंट, 50% डिस्काउंट, उसको वापस जर्नी में.
So for me, churn and dormant, they're the most difficult consumers to crack. They're the stubborn ones. They're the stubborn ones. They've decided they're not gonna come back, right?
Right.
So just to add one example to what Ritesh was saying is your RNP journeys. Now for your registered not purchased journey, day one when they registered, the maximum conversions that actually you're gonna get out of those RNP segment is first 7 days, right? If they actually don't make a purchase with you in the first 7 days, you have lost them. They don't know your brand, they don't want to engage with your brand, and anything that you send beyond 7 days, it's not going to give you conversions either. So churn customer is not a customer जहाँ पे आप 10 campaigns भेजोगे and they're gonna get convert. It's not gonna how it. So you probably want to decide on the frequency. Say in the in 1 or 2 months, I'm just gonna basically reach out to this user from this specific channel. Say once. That's
Got it.
it. And then you further segment it. Then you further do it. Ki, okay, you know what? What was the last product that they have seen? If I have that data, awesome. Target them with that specific product name or the image of that product, because that's how their recall is gonna be high, right?
So, guys, like as in India, right? Just a myth, like customers जो है इतने loyal नहीं रहते brands के towards, right? And there are a lot of this like the competitors of the same brand, right, and the same product. So people keep on jumping to different brands. Like we are talking about discounting, right? तो आज मेरे को अगर the Myglamm group से 40% discount मिल रहा है after 1 year, right? And the competitors say I'm getting like 50% discount. So I'll directly jump on that platform. So what do you guys think, like how to maintain that loyalty from customers and towards the brand?
I don't think it's ये ना बहुत ज़्यादा myth है कि customers are not loyal in India. और हमने बदनाम कर दिया है बेचारे इंडियन कस्टमर्स को बोल बोल के ये बात. While price based sensitivity is definitely there, but आप न्यू इंडिया को देखो, इंडिया 1 को देखो, उनको ना नहीं फर्क पड़ता 50 रुपए, 100 रुपए, 200 रुपए से. So depends what category you're building in. If you are building for India 2, then sure customers will not be very loyal because of price based sensitivity. But if your brand's target audience is in Gurgaon, Bangalore, Mumbai, and you're selling a product for India 1, then it is absolutely not true that your customers are not loyal. But फिर भी अगर किसी ब्रांड के पास कस्टमर लॉयल्टी की प्रॉब्लम है, then problem is not in the customers, problem is in the brand's ethics and their processes. डाइल्यूट हो जाते हैं. आई हैव स्पोकन टू सो मेनी सप्लायर्स जो बोलते हैं कि इस बड़े ब्रांड ने हमें पहला जो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दिया था उसमें इतना परसेंटेज पानी था, और शैम्पू रियल एग्जांपल है, शैम्पू मैन्युफैक्चरिंग प्लांट के ओनर से मैं बात कर रहा था, और उनकी सेकंड शिपमेंट में उन्होंने पानी का कंटेंट थोड़ा बढ़ा दिया, तो डाइल्यूट करा ना प्रोडक्ट उन्होंने. एंड आई अंडरस्टैंड कि कैश फ्लो मैनेज करने के लिए और मार्जिन बेटर करने के लिए बहुत सारी चीजें करनी पड़ती है. बट अगर आप ऐसा कोई भी चीज कर रहे हो जो आपको नहीं अच्छा लगेगा कि आपके साथ कोई करे, so you cannot just do it just because you think oh I'll get away with it, because that's not ethical, और वो it will come back to you. और फिर आप ये नहीं बोल सकते कस्टमर लॉयल नहीं है, वो आप ही ने अनएथिकल प्रैक्टिसेस करी है, या फिर ब्रांड स्केल कर जाते हैं इतना कि कस्टमर सर्विस खराब हो जाता है. बहुत कॉमन है, कस्टमर सर्विस खराब हो, ब्रांड ने बहुत स्केल कर लिया, और फिर कस्टमर लॉयल्टी खत्म नहीं होती. कस्टमर सर्विस टीम को आपने प्रोसेस नहीं सेट किया था वैसे कि as you were scaling, the customer service team was able to meet with the demands of your customers. So it's not a
Got
customer loyalty problem, it's an internal processes problem.
So brands को अपना quality maintain करना चाहिए. Basically, you're saying that of their product, right?
Yeah. I think that's a very valid point. Ki when you start, you actually start with like great products, right? And that's where
Right.
so brand loyalty actually is no longer associated with just discounts. It
Yeah.
used to
Right.
be, but
Correct.
now it's not. It's more. It's actually has to do more for your NP, your new product developments, the quality of the products, your CS that like rightly Ritesh mentioned, right? If
Right.
I'm reaching out to my to any brand CS team and I don't get a response in say next 6 hours, not even 24 hours, that's where I feel very disappointed. Yeah, first if I placed an order for the first time, right, and if the delivery say 10 days, 15 days, that's where the brand loyalty goes off. And that's where the problem starts. So I don't think so. It's no law. It's like only has to do with discounts. It used to be the case though.
Got it. Understood. So, like moving ahead with, I just want to also understand if launching a new product just requires more of the same omni-channel approach, and what specific steps or adjustment do brands need to make when launching a new product, especially in terms of building excitement across multiple channels.
I think new product launches, so there are two ways to look at it. There is a way to create a lot of hype about your product without spending
Correct.
money on ads at a certain level, up to a certain level. So, for example, through retention channel, let's say a brand is doing 1 CR a month in revenue, they
Hmm.
can easily generate about 10 lakhs to 12 lakh rupees, or maybe even up to 15, 16 lakh rupees through only email and WhatsApp with zero paid advertising when they launch a new hero product. Not a
Hmm.
side secondary product, but अगर आप एक बहुत major product launch कर रहे हो, it is possible to do that. But for a bigger brand, let's say tomorrow Myglamm has to launch a new product, they cannot expect to generate 10% of their overall revenue just without spending any ads. So scale की बात होती है. When it comes to building excitement, founder has to be there in the content. Smaller brands के POV से बात कर रहा हूँ मैं obviously. The new product that is coming out, there needs to be a journey of how and why that product is being launched, and content needs to start getting created for it months in advance. Uh,
Yeah.
and the founder has to be the face of that new product development. कि ये हो क्या रहा है? Your
Hmm.
social media, your email, your WhatsApp, everything has to be tied together. The creators you work with have to be very carefully
Thank
picked.
you.
Uh,
Yeah.
like it cannot be random कोई भी creator. It has to be very carefully chosen. And अगर new product launch करना है, you cannot decide today कि मैं आज नया product launch करूंगा और मैं 4 दिन बाद या 20 दिन बाद कर दूं. It's a 3 to
Right.
4 month process if you want to do it well. Otherwise, new product launch करने में क्या है? एक मतलब product आया, photography कराई, website upload करा और launch कर दो, कल उसको ads start कर दो. But that's not what we're talking about, right?
Yeah. So over here, just a quick follow-up, right? Wanted to ask, like, how should a early stage brand bifurcate these channels if they're launching a new product, right? In terms of if they have to use WhatsApp first or then email marketing or SMS, how should they perform on these channels? And what are the like how much percentage of efforts they should put on these channels?
I let Priyanka answer this क्योंकि हम लोग तो सिर्फ WhatsApp एंड ईमेल यूज करते हैं और इक्वली करते हैं. हमारा 70% एफर्ट ईमेल पे होता है, 30% WhatsApp पे होता है.
WhatsApp,
बट
yeah.
Priyanka would have more detailed insights, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so for specifically for your new product launches, right?
Right.
Having, as I said, like having an omni-channel approach works the best, right? Where you actually create a plan on a day-to-day basis. At least for the first 10 days, your product needs to talk, right? On your
Correct.
platform, on WhatsApp, on email, on social, everywhere, right? Now how much you should do it is I'll say email, you start with 2, 3 emails where you are talking about the product. Do not have it
Correct.
aggressive. Do not try to plug, do not try and sell them. That's what the beauty of new product launch. Never do that, right? Talk about the product because this is the only time when you actually can highlight the product, right?
Correct.
A
Right.
month later your product is no longer a new launch and you tend to get aggressive with the sales. I need sales for this because of maybe MOQs, because of any other reason, right?
Right.
So first 10, 20 days becomes extremely important for you to just talk about the product, maybe creating a lot of UGCs, maybe reaching out to a lot of influencers, right? As basic
Right.
as probably have like a lot of contests and give free products for like your consumer.
We started our newsletter 3 years ago. and we get about, if let's say in a month I generate 5 lakh rupees from email marketing, I generate 40 to 50,000 rupees from my newsletter. Okay. And
Oh,
there
nice.
is no promotion happening there. Zero. We are talking about sexy summer playlists, most romantic movies to watch with your partner. Uh, we just have fun with customers in our newsletter. The thing about a good newsletter is, and we don't have a great newsletter, by the way. I wish it was as good as some of the best newsletters in the country. Some D2C brands have really nailed their newsletter strategy.
Right, yeah.
Yes. So the newsletter thing is कि relationship बनाने में वो help करता है customer के साथ, and customers love it when you're not selling to them. They every यार इंडिया में प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि हमें सब कुछ बेचते रहते हैं. You could be a founder or you could be a housewife. Anybody and everybody is always selling to you. So when somebody is not selling to you, बहुत खुशी होती है उससे. एंड बहुत ऐसे यूजर्स होते हैं जिनको ना खरीदना होता है बट वो भूल जाते हैं. तो जब उनको न्यूज़लेटर दिखता है और वो खुश होते हैं उस न्यूज़लेटर से, तो वो अपने आप आपको आपका ब्रांड याद उनको आ जाता है.
Does WhatsApp communities are just trendy add-on and won't fundamentally change how D2C brands engage with the customers? Can you tell us why this community-led engagement might be a game changer and how brands can leverage this new channel more strategically?
Yeah, so the thing with community is now, as we our consumers are very aware of what they are using, right? They're very much
Right.
aware of what sort of products they want, right? So now community comes into picture, saying I will only use product if this was referred to me by like one of my closest friends, right? If I don't really get product recommendation, if I don't really know people who have used that product, or if people are not organically talking about it on these WhatsApp communities and everything, I will not be able to build my trust across the brands. I
Correct,
might
correct.
try it for the first time, I might not try it for the second or the third time with a new category, right? So
Right.
that's where I believe that communities in general are going to be extremely important.
So, guys, moving on to the last question of our podcast today. So, one quick question on Instagram, right? So, what is your take on Instagram? Like, is Instagram primarily a discovery tool, not a serious sales channel? Is Instagram evolving into something more transactional for D2C brands? And if so, how can brands tap into this shift to convert engagement into sales?
If let's say a customer has asked me for a price of a certain product, or maybe it's a customer service complaint, my order is not delivered. Now when I'm responding to that, वो जो डेटा है वो मेरे कस्टमर सर्विस एजेंट के डैशबोर्ड पे नहीं आ रहा, बट
Correct.
reality my customer service and social media has to be one single unit, and I think technology is not there yet, where we can integrate it so well that my social media manager and my customer service team, they are all interacting on a common dashboard. I can see कि इस यूजर ने आज कंप्लेंट करी है कि मेरा प्रोडक्ट डिलीवर नहीं हुआ, immediately notification जाना चाहिए हेड ऑफ कस्टमर सर्विस के पास. This customer has
Yeah.
purchased from us more than 4 times, spent over 5,000 rupees on us, और इसकी एक complaint ticket create हुआ है. These are the kind of things which are currently missing right now. I have two hacks or learnings to share. First is a UI UX designer. We hired a UI UX designer in-house. We hired a freelancer actually for some other task entirely. And then we liked that person so much, we were like, isko in-house shift karte hain. We got good results initially. Our website conversion rate shot up because we had a dedicated UI UX person working on every aspect of the user journey. But हमारी जो email flows और journeys है, वो भी UI UX वाला इंसान बहुत अच्छा बनाता है. And the takeaway from this is, it is much easier for a UI UX person to make pretty emails compared to a graphic designer, because in UI UX it's a very flowy kind of a process that you have. But when it comes to graphic designers, they are usually making social media posts, so they are not used to making content in this format. They are used to making content in this format. अगर कॉस्ट की बात करूं ना, a good graphic designer, if it costs me 40 to 70k a month in salaries, a good UI UX designer will cost me maybe 60 to 80k a month in salaries. But the impact that UI UX designer will create will be significantly greater than a graphic designer. The other thing I would like to speak about is picking up the phone and calling your customers. Priyanka was talking about churned users being the most tricky challenge for their business. पहले ना सब करते थे ये, like it was 101, talking to your customers on call बहुत basic process होता था, और अब क्या हो रहा है, फाउंडर्स की एज कम हो रही है एंड एज कम के साथ आलस बढ़ रहा है, बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली बात है दैट younger founders, even I am not as proactive as some of the senior founders which I take mentorship from, and we're
Right.
always trying to come up with hacks and tricks कि हम अपना ये काम कम कैसे कर सकते हैं. So
Right.
while we have made significant process in substituting this calling process with some tech-based solution, it's actually working well for us. I mean, happy to speak about it some other time. But आपको अपने customers के बारे में सब जानना है यार. For Manzoori's customers, I want to know what is their favorite sex position. I want to know what is their favorite movie. I want to know what kind of stimulation do they prefer, oral, anal, whatever. And अलग अलग ब्रांड्स के लिए अलग अलग यूज केसेस होंगे इस चीज के, बिकॉज व्हेन यू नो
Right.
दीज इंटीमेट डिटेल्स अबाउट योर कस्टमर्स, यू कैन टेक वेरी सॉलिड एक्शंस अराउंड देम.
So, what is your take, right, Priyanka? Like, as Ritesh spoke about his, like, gave the learnings. What do you think from your perspective?
For me, I think the importance of journeys, I really cannot, like, I keep saying it, but I know like it's extremely important. Like, journeys are very, very critical, right?
Right.
And even if it's about pre purchase, post purchase, having those segmentations in place, whatever you can do at the given point, right? You might not be able to do it on a deeper level that, oh, what has Ritesh has clicked on? I want to send them that journey separately, but you definitely know what Ritesh is interested in, right? So
Right.
create your journeys around those lines. Then having what is the frequency RFM model that we talk about. RFM is recency, frequency, and monetization. Right now this has been there for like good 8-9 years, but are we actually using it, or are we actually optimizing on it? Right, how recently say Priyanka has come on my platform, right? How frequently she's actually coming back. Now this would be because
Right.
of my campaigns that I'm sending. What is the money that she's willing to spend on my platform? So once you have these 2-3 data points in place, sending them campaigns also, it becomes very easy for you.
And we are also noticing it as quite frequently, right, with the brands. They're coming up with certain queries, like brands, like customers are not able to engage with the platform, that because of that frequency capping that came from Meta's end, right? So these all things do matter a lot for the brands also. Like, it's a good take. Thank you guys for sharing all the insights on the omni-channel playbook today, like discussing about SMS, email, and WhatsApp strategies. It was really insightful, right, for the audience that joined us, and also the people who will be looking at this podcast. So there is Tejashri has one question, like, when is the right time to spend product recommendation for retention?
Priyanka, you should take this up.
Yeah. When is the right time to send product recommendation post purchase? So basically, actually pre-purchase as well. There's no right or wrong time to actually send product recommendations. Honestly, right? As soon as you know the interest of a consumer, that's where the journey starts, right? As long as I have the relevant information that I know Priyanka is very likely to purchase an eyeliner, my product recommendation engine should automatically start, right? Even if she hasn't really bought anything from me. So that's actually where it starts. Having said that, if you don't really have that relevant information pre-purchase, post-purchase, you know what category that a person is buying, right? Or what the category the person is actually browsing through as well. So that ways you can actually go category level, and you say that we know that you really like eyeliners. Here are a few more eyeliners, here are some kajals, to get into that category, even if you don't really have a proper detailed data where you know that this product is specifically for Priyanka. I know her interest lies with it. So even if you have just the subcategory category level information, go for it. There's no right and wrong time to send product recommendation, honestly, as long as you do it rightly.
There has to be a
That's what
logic. I mean, logic
there
होना
has
चाहिए
to be a
10 to
logic.
7.
Yeah,
Logic होना चाहिए 10 to 7.
don't correct, correct. Haan, don't mass do it. Matlab, just for the sake of sending product recommendation, don't do that. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you so much, Priyanka, for answering that. I hope it solves the problem for Tejashri, right? So moving ahead, guys, is there any other question? Like, so there is one more question, like from Tejashri. I have a group of customer who haven't purchased despite best offers. Should I stop nudging them?
Stop nudging them for a while. उनके साथ प्यार मोहब्बत करो बिना उन्हें कुछ बेचे. Newsletter, whatever you can, offer them value without selling anything. So
Yeah.
the example I gave for we send a sexy playlist or movie recommendations, I'm sure every brand can think of something very relevant which will work for them.
Right.
So and then after that उसको वापस campaign भेजो. But
Hmm.
शुरू में मत करो. Stop nudging them for a while, for at least 1 or 2 months. Do relationship building with them, maybe even 3 months, and then send them campaign again. And you can automate this whole process. Any customer to whom you send 5 campaigns, but they have not purchased from any one campaign, they get one movie recommendation. The next week they get a dinner recommendation, and then 1 week later that we send them another campaign to see if they convert or not.
Thank you, Tejasri, for asking such a great question. And thank you, Ritesh and Priyanka, for answering that. Hope you enjoyed our session. And thank you so much, Ritesh and Priyanka, for taking
Thank
your time
you.
out for today's
Thank
podcast.
you
It
so much,
was
Yuvraj.
great catching up with you
We
guys.
had fun. Thanks for arranging this and getting
Yeah.
all these people together. Yeah.
Thank you. It was only possible because of you guys. Our entire team was working for like just for this podcast and to make this happen, right? Thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. And it was
Thank
a
you for having us.
lovely time spending with you guys and discussing such a great
Likewise.
insights, right?
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much, guys. Have a great day.
Thank
See
you.
you.